specifically blocks around the masculine. So if you are just struggling with dating, with marriage, it feels hard, you're not attracting the type of men or energy from your husband that just wants to provide and protect you and spoil you so you can feel safe and then just enjoy your juicy relationships, this episode is for you. And for those of you that are new here, what's up? I'm Natasha. I specialize in helping women really re regulate, master their feminine energy and their nervous system and hormones, the great trifecta. And this topic specifically is going to change everything for you. We're going to go through 5 things that really block a woman from receiving from the masculine. And these are subtle. And here's the thing, this is not just theory for me. I have coached thousands of women to date. Just in this last year alone, I've coached well over 1,000 women, and many of them have gotten engaged and married. I've had women that have been able to turn their marriages around. I also got remarried later on in life. I was a struggling single mom with 4 little kiddos, and these are things I had to learn before I was able to attract my now amazing husband, Coach B. And even my girlfriends are all married. All my close best friends, when we were all single at the same time a few years ago, we all had to learn these things. And now all my friends are married. So I got receipts. I'm not just on here trying to come up with some good ideas. This is like I am all about getting my ladies results, and it works. So this is going to be really, really good. We're going to go through 5 things that are going to completely transform just your nervous system and your subconscious mind when it comes to dating and when it comes to relationships and when it comes to maybe how you're feeling in relationships and just the energy that you're attracting in them. So it's going to be really fun. Also, comment below any questions that you have and I will answer them as well. I'm loving our Tuesday chats. I'm going to call them Tuesday girl chats where normally I'm on here with my husband, Coach B, but I love Tuesday, live streams with you ladies because I feel like I can go a lot deeper with you and talk about those things that maybe aren't so popular, but are going to actually move the needle forward. These are the things that allow you to attract that princess treatment even in the dating phase, even in the marriage phase. And it's so fun watching my ladies that I coach in the Feminine Energy Academy because they come to me and coach me and they're frantic, they're heartbroken, they're frustrated. The man's pulled away, the man's not showing up. He was great at the beginning and then, things kind of fell away or he's not stepping up for marriage, those types of things. And then it's so fun to watch their progression because they do the stuff that we teach them. And then, of course, they come a running. The masculine energy starts chasing them. But the difference is this time is the women know they have that nervous system capacity to really receive it and to hold it so they don't self sabotage. And so before we get into the 5 points, what I need you ladies to catch and deeply understand how the nervous system works. The nervous system's one and only job is to keep you safe. So, you as a woman, if you detect subconsciously, this is all subconscious, if your nervous system detects a threat, if your nervous system thinks that something is unsafe, it's going to resist it. It's going to push it away and it's going to look like a self sabotage. You're not going to be able to, if you're aware, then you'll be able to understand, okay, I'm self sabotaging right now, or he's self sabotaging right now. But until you become aware of this, it's just going to look like repeating the same patterns. But on this channel, I help you break these patterns, ladies, because we're not in to the struggle love patterns anymore. No, we're not into struggle money. We're not into struggle body. We're not into struggle life, period. It's our divine birthright to live our best freaking lives as the bride, right? So let's jump into it. And you might not have all of these blocks, you might just have 1 or 2. But the first step for transformation is first identifying and becoming aware of maybe patterns that you've been playing in and not realizing it because these are so subtle. And I'm going to show you how they manifest into reality. Let me take a sip of my tea here. Okay, so ask yourself if you play with any of these patterns, any of these energies, any of these thoughts, okay? So the first thing is you believe that relationships are hard. You believe that dating or marriage is hard. It's kind of like with money. A lot of people believe that making money is hard. Maybe at at a head knowledge, you're like, oh no, it's easy, it's easy. No, at a nervous system level, do you believe that it's easy or do you believe that it's hard? A lot of people that I talk to, I hear dating coaches talk about this, relationships coaches on here on social media, they're like, oh, dating is so hard nowadays. Relationships are just so hard. And what I need you to understand as a nervous system coach is when you keep telling yourself that dating is hard, relationships are hard, marriage is hard, making money is hard, fill in the blank is hard, your nervous system is going to resist it because it looks at it as a threat. It looks at it as like this is going to be too much work. And then you'll fall away. So instead we got to reframe that. And it's not that you're just you know, telling yourself, "Oh, no, it's easy." It's actually understanding at a deep level, at a nervous system level, like, wait a minute, okay, maybe it's hard for some people, but then there's also people out there that dating is easy. Marriage gets to be easy. I'm not saying that you don't have to put work into it, but the work actually, especially for the woman, for the feminine, is the inner work. That's the work you got to put in. It's not about chasing more. It's not about doing more. It's not about performing more. It's not more about showing him and getting validation and showing him how amazing you are. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not in chase mode, ladies. We are in worthiness mode. We are in high value mode. Okay. And people mirror your energy. And if you think that dating and marriage is hard, you are walking around with that in your energy field. People can feel your energy, right? This is actual science. People can feel your energy. And so for you, that's the inner work that you got to do is shifting those patterns. Now, here's the thing that I don't, when I'm saying all these things, I don't want you to start judging yourself. I don't want you to start condemning yourself or anything like that. I want you to meet this with so much love, so much self compassion, and really understand that this is an invitation for you to change. Like you are literally seeing this for a reason. This came across your feed for a reason. You're meant to hear this. And it's time for you to change, right? It's time for you to choose a different way. You get to unsubscribe to old beliefs. So I tell my ladies, like, you can unsubscribe to that. If you believed your whole life because you were taught from watching your parents, from watching your especially your parents, watching people around you, or maybe from your past relationship, maybe from your past marriage, that things are hard. Dating is hard. Relationships are hard. Anything like that, you can unsubscribe from those patterns because what happens is whatever you focus on, you're going to see more of. That's like your reticular activating system is going around based on what it's programmed to, and it's going to show you more examples of what you're thinking about whether you want it or not. So if you're saying and you're thinking, oh, relationships are hard, dating is hard, marriage is hard, all you're going to see in your reality is more examples of dating being hard, marriage being hard, relationships being hard. It's the same thing with money, ladies. It's the same thing with weight loss. It's the same thing with everything. God didn't design all this to be complicated. We've overcomplicated things. Right now we get to simplify it. Okay, so what are your dominant thoughts around dating and marriage? What have you been programmed to? It's kind of like with social media, I use this example a lot, where even if you don't like something, you don't like videos that are popping up on your feed, if you don't ignore them or say not interested, but if you engage with them, if you watch them, maybe comment, maybe you're triggered by it, the algorithm is going to show you more of that. So life's algorithm is going to show you more examples of things that you don't want if you're giving your attention to it. So we want to starve those things. We want to starve our attention from those thoughts, those ideas, and change what we're focused on. And then you're going to start seeing examples of how dating and marriage gets to be easy. It gets to be fun. I mean, this is why you're on this channel. This is why you want to subscribe to this channel, because Coach B and I are on here all the time. And we're showing you that dating gets to be fun, marriage gets to be fun. Even if you've been through hell, like what I've been through, even if you had a failed engagement, like what Coach B went through, or a loss of a marriage, like what I went through, even if you're a single mom, like how I was, and dating later on in life, it still gets to be fun and easy for you. Okay. And also, there's an abundance of men out there. That's another story that women tell themselves is there's no good men in my area. There's no men in my area that want to get married. There's no men in my area or my culture that are taking marriage seriously. Lies. Lies. That's just what you programmed yourself to. Okay. But this will show up subconsciously where maybe you do attract an amazing man, but subconsciously, if you think dating is hard, marriage is hard, you're going to manifest that in your dating life. You're going to manifest that in your marriage life. You're going to manifest that in your finances if you think money is hard. And I mean, going to the money thing, for example, because money, I mean, you can look at money as masculine energy. If you want to be the feminine, you want money to chase you, that means money is taking on that masculine energy role. It's the same thing. Your money patterns often mirror your relationship patterns. This is why I heal both of them in the Feminine Energy Academy because they're so similar. But anyway, when you tell yourself making money is hard, then that's what you're going to keep manifesting. Even if you are making a lot of money, it's going to feel like hard work because that's what you believe. And it's a confirmation bias. This is actual neuroscience where your RAS will give you examples of why this is true. Okay, so that's an area we got to shift. Okay, next one. This is so subtle. And I keep noticing this with especially other coaches talking, and they're single, of course, but like maybe they're money coaches, they're manifestation coaches, they're coaching on different things. It might not even be on that. But they're single, right? And that's totally fine. There's no shade to someone that's single. But I notice these subtle things that they say. I'm like, they have a masculine wound. I can sense it. And so you'll sense it, you'll hear them say things like, and this might be you, hear them say something where there's these stories around men. There's these stories around the patriarchy. There's these stories around corporate America and masculine business models and masculine systems, and everything has been masculinized. And it is true in the sense that a lot of things have been masculinized for sure, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. And it doesn't mean that here's the thing. It's your energy around it. So if you subconsciously have a man wound or a masculine energy wound, you're going to resist these things because you think that they're bad. And you cannot attract things into your life if you think they're bad. And so you can't go around talking bad about men and then attract a man. You can't. You can't go around talking about, oh, the patriarchy this, blah, 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 blah. That's misogynistic. He's misogynistic. All of these things, and then attract a masculine energy man. Not to say that those things don't exist. Of course they exist, right? But I want you to check your heart. Do you have wounds around masculine systems, corporate America, or the patriarchy? Or just different things in your life. And a lot of times this also comes from religion. This also comes from, of course, how you were raised. If you saw toxic masculinity being, when you were raised with maybe your father was abusive or he wasn't a provider or he was really controlling. Or, I coach a lot of women that have religious wounds where they saw in the church or in their religion, you know, the man taking advantage of things. And because of that, or being hypocritical, things like that. And if you haven't healed that, it's going to show up in your love life. I see this all the time with the women that I coach. And that's why a lot of women that come to me, one of the first things that we do is we heal that divine masculine energy wound so that you get to know and feel like the masculine. And I'm not saying all masculine, okay, but just in general, the divine masculine, that provider protector energy, you have a healthy relationship with it. You know that the masculine wants to spoil you. You know that the masculine loves you. You know that the masculine adores you. And starting with God, God, you are God's idea. Your heavenly father, your husband, your divine husband, right? This is why I always talk about the widow consciousness, the orphan consciousness is that masculine energy wound. You're trying to do everything yourself because you don't feel safe with the masculine. So how this manifests in your reality is you feel like you got to do everything yourself. You might be gorgeous. You could be a supermodel. I coach a lot of them. Okay. You could be a millionaire, boss babe, coach a lot of them as well. Okay. You, so many things are going amazing in your life. On the outside, you look perfect. But deep down, there's that divine masculine energy wound where you don't fully trust the masculine. You don't fully trust God. You don't fully trust because you've been wounded. So you subconsciously will resist it. And how this manifests is there's two things. One, you're going to attract a lot of feminine men, a lot of feminine men. Now, they could be straight or they could be gay, and they could be your friends or they could be guys that you're dating. You'll see a lot of women in their masculine energy attract men like this because it feels safe. A man in his feminine feels safe to you. This is really deep, but I'm sure you can think of examples of this. I see this all of the time with people. And so just ask yourself if you're playing those patterns where you tend to attract men that are in their feminine, whether gay, straight, whether they're your friends or whether they're guys that you're dating. I want to be all the way real with you. And there's nothing wrong with those men at all. But my job is to help you attract masculine energy men that are serious about you, that want to give you princess treatment, that want to marry you. That's what I do on this channel. And this is why we get so many amazing results, my husband and I, because we go right to the root of things. And this is a big root for a lot of women that they're not even aware of. So the remedy for that, once again, is you got to heal that masculine energy wound because otherwise it's going to keep manifesting. It's going to manifest in your business life with work. It's going to manifest in your dating life and in your marriage life. Okay. So good. Okay. And I will get to your questions. I see your ladies' questions. I promise I'll get to them. I wrote this down so I don't get distracted because my ladies that know me, I mean, I did a 3-hour masterclass on Saturday with my ladies, helping them heal at a nervous system level, receiving blocks around money. So I can go really, really deep, but on YouTube, I try to, just give you guys a little taste, help you with awareness. So I'm going to look at my notes here. So another thing that, another a huge block for women that I see all the time, and I had to heal this one too, is that fear of putting yourself out there, that fear of putting yourself out there because you have been wounded, probably pretty deep. If you're really afraid of putting yourself out there, it's because you've been wounded, right? Your nervous system has been traumatized, and it's understandable, babe. Okay, I understand. I deeply understand this. I, I went through a loss of my first marriage. That was horribly traumatizing to me, to my nervous system, understandably so. But I had to heal that to put myself out there. Other women, you've gone through a divorce. You've gone through just a bad breakup, right? You've gone through something where it could have just been growing up from childhood, and that got stuck in your nervous system. And it doesn't feel safe to put yourself out there. So what that manifests as, what it looks like, is maybe you don't want to date. Maybe you don't want to do online dating. Maybe, here's a big one, you attract men that are not serious. You stay in that avoidant pattern and you attract men that are in that avoidant pattern. Or you might be in avoidant pattern, they might be in the anxious pattern, or you might be in the anxious pattern, they might be in the avoidant pattern. And what happens is that's to keep your nervous system safe because your nervous system deep down subconsciously, once again, falling in love again, getting married equals danger. And at a subconscious level, if getting married or falling in love again or putting yourself out there on a dating app or going on dates, even if you're doing speed dating, whatever it is, blind dates, matchmaking, but that fear of rejection, that's a block. That's a receiving block. It's a major receiving block. It's the same thing with money with my ladies. If you have a money cap, I already know there's something there that you have a fear of being seen by more people or putting yourself out there. I know that to be true because once again, I've coached thousands of women. So I see the same patterns. So just ask yourself, oh, am I playing those patterns? Okay, so that was me too, by the way. Okay. That's why it took me 5 years. Well, let me see. It took me about 3 years before I went on a dating app. So my marriage ended in 2019 when my husband passed away. And then I spent about 3 years healing. I had enough sense to know, okay, I need to heal. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put myself on the dating apps. I put myself on the dating apps. This was 2022. I met my now husband right away. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want you to catch. I wasn't fully healed. He wasn't fully healed. I wasn't fully healed. And so we dated for a couple months. And then he wasn't fully stepping up for marriage. He wasn't fully stepping up to really pursue me. We were in different countries. We were in different countries. And so we're doing the long distance dating thing. And, we're talking every day. We saw each other, but then he wasn't really taking it to that next level. And I had done enough healing to know, like, hey, I need to cut this off. He's not ready. And so thankfully, I cut it off. And I had enough sense because I had done healing, was like, I probably shouldn't be on the dating apps right now. I probably need to do more healing. And I took a break from the dating apps because I realized that I had stuff going on in my nervous system because everyone is always mirroring your energy. If you're attracting men that are not fully showing up for you because there's something going on in your nervous system or your energy where you don't fully feel safe. And then I realized that I was like, okay, I deeply have a fear of falling back in love again and getting married again, specifically getting married again because of the loss I went through. What if that happens again? Blah, 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 blah. I lost my first husband to cancer. It was so traumatic. It was like 3 years of trauma, pure trauma. And then, he passed away and then it was horrible. I didn't have the tools back then that I have now, to shift our reality and manifest things differently. I didn't have that back then. And so anyway, so I'm so grateful I took a break from dating and I just went full force on healing my nervous system, healing my love blocks, healing my inner child wounds. I didn't realize I had rejection wounds from when I was 14 years old when my dad left. And then losing that marriage, that was another rejection wound, another abandonment wound, feeling like I'm being abandoned again, right? And then so I had to heal that out of my energy field. I had to heal that out of my nervous system. And the cool thing about that is as I was on my healing journey and I was ready to go back on the dating apps, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to rotationally date again. That's when my now husband came back into the picture, Coach B. And he came back proper because he had also done inner healing, right? And but I had to be willing to put myself out there. I would not have met my now husband, Coach B, if I would have just stayed playing in avoidant patterns and not be willing to put myself out there. Now, I'm not saying just put yourself out there. You have to do healing first. You need to have strategy. If you want to go on the dating apps, don't just put yourself on the dating apps because or even date period if you don't have strategy because you're going to end up with more baggage. I promise you that you're going to attract the wrong types of guys. You're going to get wounded and then you're going to hate dating. You're going to find dating is exhausting versus pause, take some time, do some inner healing, get some coaching around dating. This is why we teach our ladies how to date online and offline because there's so many different ways you can date and get your energy right and then show up for dating. So then what happens is when you're dating, once again, whether you're online or offline, if something happens, you're detached, you're unbothered, babe. Like this is what's going to happen. I guarantee this is what's going to happen because I coach so many women and this was me as well. You're going to have multiple men in their provider energy that want to marry you. Okay. You're going to have multiple men that are in their provider energy that want to marry you because that's the masculine's natural state. That's how God has created the masculine is to want to provide, to protect, and to chase you. Just think of the sperm. If you don't believe me, look at God's creation, look at the sperm. The sperms, there's so many sperms and they're competing for each other or competing with each other for you. They're competing for that egg. When people are like, "Oh, rotational dating is that of God when men are competing for you?" Look at sperm. Sperm compete for us. That's masculinity. That's masculinity right there. Okay? What's our job as the feminine? To be the whole egg, to position ourselves. The egg can't just stay, up in the ovary. No, the egg has to come out of the ovary, come out of hiding, and go down and position itself to be fertilized by the sperm, right? That's our job as the woman. Ruth, for my ladies that like scripture, Ruth had to reposition herself to attract her Boaz. She had to do some cleaning up. She had to anoint herself. She had to wash herself. That's not just physically, ladies. That's talking about spiritually, energetically, in the nervous system, positioning yourself to be ready to be found by your Boaz, your provider husband, right? Same with Queen Esther, right? Queen Esther had to reposition herself. She was an orphan, right? She had to position herself to be found by the king. These are spiritual truths. This is how God has created things. So like God has given us a playbook, ladies. It's not supposed to be this hard. It's not. It's because we're trying to do things our own way instead of doing things God's way. That's why it's not working. Okay. So, when you first of all see yourself as a queen, you see yourself as worthy to get princess treatment, even if you're a single mom like I was, even if you're 45, 55, 65 years old, like the women that we coach are a lot of times that are still attracting provider men, you got to see yourself as worthy to have men that want to date and pursue and marry you and give you princess treatment. You have to see that first. Otherwise, they're always going to mirror your energy. If you don't fully choose you, if you don't fully choose you, you're going to attract men who don't fully choose you. That's what I need you to catch, ladies, okay? So it's not the men's fault. It's not that there's not enough men out there, or it's not because you're too old or you're too dark skinned or you got too many kids. No, 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 no. None of that. Okay, we're going to let go of those patterns and we're going to remind myself, no, I'm worthy. Okay. Okay, so you're going to put yourself out there. Of course, if you need help putting yourself out there and you want strategy, I encourage you to get my attraction formula. It's a new formula that I have in my Feminine Energy Academy where I give you the 10 steps on doing the energetics and putting yourself out there for dating. Okay, date internationally, ladies. We have so many women right now in our community that are dating internationally. Men are flying out to see them, they're flying them out, they're getting engaged, they're getting married. We've had 2 engagements this month alone in the month of November, and we have 2 marriages this month in the month of November. Okay, this stuff works. All right. What's the next one I want to tell you? Okay, you do not want to be in needy energy. Ladies, Tanya, I see you, girl. What's up? I love you. Okay, ladies, you do not want to be in needy energy. Needy energy is repulsive. Needy energy is not going to attract princess treatment. Needy energy is actually a love block. So, what I want you to look, so here's some signs that you're in needy energy. And once again, it's because the nervous system has been wounded. It could be from childhood where maybe, you weren't getting the love or that consistent love that you deserve. And it's no shade to your parents. They didn't know any better. Okay. So we're going to forgive them for that. But if that's what your nervous system has been programmed to, that love is chaotic, love is unpredictable, or I have to stand on my head and do cartwheels in order for someone to love me. I have to have straight A's. I have to look perfect. I have to be on the top of my class, or I have to have a thriving business or the best job or the best degrees in order to receive love. And that's what got programmed into our nervous system as a child. That's going to carry into adulthood. Okay? So, what happens is when we're still playing in those patterns, we're chasing approval, we're chasing validation. And when the guy leaves or the guy is busy doing something, you might be feeling triggered, like it's triggering your abandonment wound, it's triggering your rejection wound. You're feeling lonely. Now, there's 2 scenarios where I see this. So, first of all, if you're single right now and you're feeling lonely, you feel like you're behind, that's a big one. You feel like you're behind, you feel like you're running out of time. That's that needy energy. Okay. You just want to hook up. You just want that intimacy. You're just craving that. That's that needy energy. And that is actually going to repel the masculine. Another scenario I see with women sometimes is they're in a relationship or they're dating, but then the guy is busy doing whatever. He might be busy with work, and you're feeling triggered by that. You're feeling lonely by that. That's that needy energy. Or maybe you're triggered because you're seeing everyone else is all married and all in relationships or all has amazing jobs, and you're feeling bad about yourself. Okay. So now that we've identified that, I don't want you to stay in that place. I want you to see that, okay, this is a clue because God only reveals to heal. That's what I want you to catch. If you are triggered, God only reveals to heal. So if you're like, oh, I do kind of feel needy right now. Oh, I do kind of feel lonely right now. I do kind of feel like annoyed that everyone else around me is married or getting engaged and I'm not. I do kind of feel annoyed about that. Okay, that's a clue. That's data for you, babe. That's data for you to heal that inside of you. Heal that. Heal that. And it's like, what am I chasing? Am I chasing validation? Am I chasing approval? The great irony in all of this, ladies, is as you heal your nervous system, as you take all your energy off of these guys, or clients or people approval, people in your life that you're seeking approval from. And you put all that energy back on yourself and you see how amazing you are. And it is going to take some nervous system reprogramming. This is why I have tools in my Feminine Energy Academy to help women do this. But it's like literally brainwashing yourself every day about how amazing you are and how amazing your life is. And you're just overflowing with love in your own life. You're overflowing with fun in your own life. Your confidence is high. You know you're the best option. You know you're the best option. All of that. When you're in that energy, when you're dating, you're showing up in a completely different frequency. This is when men are just magnetize you. Not just men, but opportunities. People want they want to work with you. It's so fun because even this week I just posted some wins on our community tab of the ladies in our community who are attracting their dream jobs, their dream positions, their businesses are scaling, their new businesses are scaling. They're attracting more money than they've ever attracted ever. Why? Because they've healed these receiving blocks. That's it. They healed these receiving blocks. They've been able to put themselves out there, and these are women that are also dating for marriage. So you get to have both. You get to have the thriving dating and marriage life, and you get to have a thriving business or job, whatever it is that you're calling in. But it's the same energy. It's all mirroring your energy. Okay, so that's what I need you to catch. And the biggest thing, if you're struggling with that neediness, it is a childhood wound. It's a childhood abandonment wound that I really encourage you to heal, which, of course, I have specific training and audios in the Feminine Energy Academy. It's one of the first audios I give you when you first come in. I private message it to you, and it helps you heal that abandonment wound. It helps you heal that rejection wound. So you're not rejecting yourself, you're not abandoning yourself, but then also so you're not triggered by other people and their choices. The guy wants to stay, great. He wants to leave, great. Girl, you are so unbothered. You are so you're not moved by it. You just move on to the next thing. Period. You're not carrying baggage. You're not carrying baggage, but you're moving on with grace. That's what keeps you that's what keeps you magnetic, and that's what keeps the men chasing. And it's the same thing with business. A client doesn't want to work with you anymore. A job or a company doesn't want to work with you anymore. Okay, bless you. Bless you. And you move on with grace. You're unbothered. Okay? Because you're just so embodied in your worthiness. All right. So we talked about one, two, three, four. Okay. Let me see. One, two, three. Okay. I have another one here. One. Okay. I think I had four. Anyway, here's my last but not least. This is huge. Is you have a fear of vulnerability, being vulnerable. So it is similar to putting yourself out there, but even in the relationship, I'll see this with my ladies, beautiful women, by the way, attract men easily. And then, but it's like, I can't let him get too close. I can't let him get too close. Once again, this goes back to there's some sort of trauma there around maybe with your father or marriage, or you lost a relationship, something along those lines where it's like you can't let him get too close because there's that fear there of here's another one that I see where that perfectionism, this is also something that I really have had to heal from, is that perfectionism, things having to look perfect and be perfect, and everything needs to be perfect before I'm worthy to get married again. And that's just not true. And that actually repels the masculine because none of us are perfect, right? We're all on this healing journey. But if you're hiding because you don't want him to see, you know, maybe your kids aren't perfect, or maybe your body's not perfect, or maybe your finances aren't perfect. You have stuff going on. So what happens is you'll block everything out. You won't let him get too close to you. And what that will look like is you will have the walls up. You will have the avoidant patterns where you will attract men that aren't fully showing up for you, or maybe they do want to fully show up for you, but you have that hesitation like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm ready for that. And I mean, there are obviously some situations where you might not be ready, but if you've done the inner work, you've done the inner healing, you've done the stuff that we teach you ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy, and you're still like, I don't think I'm ready. Oh, I don't think I'm ready. Then then it's that avoidant pattern playing out where you just don't feel vulnerable. You don't want to you struggle with trusting the masculine. You struggle with trusting letting go of control. Another way this manifests and it shows up is you do need to hyper control things. You're the type of girl that you have to control things. You need to control dates, what you're doing. You need to know all the details about everything, ladies. You want him to, tell you absolutely everything. You critique things. My ladies that love to critique. Oh, I'm just helping. I'm just helping. No, you're critiquing. Why? That's you having to control things. Why do you always have to control things? Well, the reason why you have to control things is because you don't feel safe at a nervous system level. I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. We were traveling this past weekend, and in our hotel room, uh, the show Hoarders came on. And we haven't watched that show in like years, probably. So it came on, we were watching it. And I know you ladies have seen the show Hoarders, where they're like, these people are literally hoarding everything. They can't let go of anything. And so their homes are just full, overflowing with junk, right? And you can look at these people and be like, oh, I mean, how could someone live like this? How can someone get to this point where they have all this crap? Why can't they just let it go? This is so unhealthy. And everyone's judging these people. But it's so interesting. That's exactly how most people are walking around right now. It might not be in your house, but emotionally, you are hoarding all these old memories, all these old ideas, all these old stories. You're just holding on to them as a woman. And then what happens is these women, also in these hoarding shows, they're hyper reactive. So that's why you'll see they'll always have a psychologist on board, because we know that this is all just, it's what's going on in their nervous system. They've all gone through some traumatic loss. The patterns are all the same. It's the same thing I help my ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy. They've all gone through some traumatic loss, and now their nervous systems are hyper triggered. So they want to control things. They need to hold on to things to feel safe. Everything feels overwhelming. Everything gives them anxiety. Everything just triggers them. They have a hard time of letting go of the guy. They have a hard time of letting go of that relationship. They have a hard time letting go of that past memory. They have a hard time letting go of their own controlling behaviors or their ways that they respond as a woman. They have a hard time letting go of those things. You're controlling those things. And so, on this show, the psychologist is really doing, they don't call it this, but is doing a lot of nervous system work with them to help them feel safe to let go of control. And I'm challenging you ladies that are listening right now, because once again, I was doing this even before I was a feminine energy coach, when I was helping them with their hormones and they had weight issues. It was the same thing. They were hoarding past memories, past trauma, past wounds in their body, and your emotions get trapped in your body. And it manifests as eating, emotional eating. It manifests as obesity. It manifests as hormone issues. It manifests as PCOS, as fibroids, and gut issues, bloating issues. I see the patterns all the time. And then when we would work on them, when we would help them re-regulate their nervous system so they can feel safe to release the memories, forgive their abuser, forgive themselves from past mistakes financially, with relationships, whatever it was, forgive their dad, the daddy issues, heal from the daddy issues. When they were able to do that, and we worked on their hormones, so we worked on like their insulin, their cortisol, stuff like that, they were able to reverse PCOS. The cysts went away. They were able to shrink their fibroids. The fibroids would shrink. The gut issues would go away. They would get pregnant. I've coached so many women that wanted to get pregnant that are now pregnant. They were able to attract the husband. It is all the same thing. That's what I want you to understand. But I understand you are not going to put yourself out there. You're not going to be vulnerable. You're not going to allow yourself to feel certain things until you have the tools to help you regulate. That's why with those hoarders, they have to have a psychologist in their ear, helping them every step of the way to help them feel safe. Otherwise, they won't let go. And that's I was like, I was watching with Coach B. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I do with the Women in the Feminine Energy Academy. Exactly. I'm literally in their ear all day, every day. I have audio activations, nervous system re-regulating audios. So they listen to them all day and all night. And they're re-regulating as they're doing the thing. They're re-regulating as they're doing their taxes. They're re-regulating while they're dating. They're re-regulating in their marriage. They're re-regulating as they're starting their business. They're re-regulating as they're dealing with legal issues with the ex, in the divorce case. They're re-regulating as they're, dealing with like large transactions, investments. I have day traders in our community, day traders, realtors, investors, all these women, doctors, nurses that have their own practices. And they haven't really been taught how to nervous system re-regulate. They've only been taught to do things in their masculine energy, which is to work really, really hard. And so what I teach them is how to do it the feminine energy way, where you can do all this, but it gets to be fun. Dating gets to be fun. Marriage gets to be fun. Making money gets to be fun. Getting paid to exist gets to be fun, ladies. Healing your body, healing your heart, healing your nervous system, healing your hormones gets to be fun. Losing weight and getting your dream body gets to be fun. Moving, calling in that dream home, that dream vehicle, getting pregnant, all of these things that you want and desire, it gets to be fun. Okay, this is so so good. Okay, let me check your guys' questions. Oh shoot, where's my phone? Hold on, let me grab my phone. Don't go anywhere. See, I get on these rants, and I forget what time it is. I love this so much. And also, ladies, just so you know that this past weekend I did a 3-hour intensive masterclass for ladies on healing your nervous system, healing your love blocks, healing financial blocks, helping you expand your capacity to receive. Now, this is for both money, but also for the masculine because it's the same patterns, right, that we play in. It was so fire. And it was really cool to hear some of the women's testimonials that have been in the feminine energy that are still in there. And they're just like attracting so many opportunities now, dream jobs, dream business, dream clients. They're making more money than they ever have. And it's so cool to see. But it all comes down to the same principles of retraining your nervous system that these things are not a threat, helping you remove the caps so you can call in the higher cash months. These ladies are getting raises. They're getting, it's just amazing. You got to go check it out. Also, we have a free trial for all the new people. We have a free trial, so you're free to jump in, and you can literally binge watch it. I literally just pinned it to the top of the Feminine Energy Academy, and it's not just a 3-hour masterclass. I do really deep inner work, and so I included that as well because I'm really about helping you shift the nuances, the tiny little tweaks and blocks that stop you from receiving your blessings, whether it has to do with men or with money or your body, your health, all of those things, because it's all related. That's what I'm really masterful at. That's what I'm really, really good at, is helping you with those little nuances, those little tweaks, those little shifts that help you shift your reality for good. So you can hold that new reality without self sabotaging. Okay, let me see here. I saw you guys had a whole bunch of amazing questions. So let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, Tamara asked, when joining the trial, the Feminine Energy Academy, and completing my profile, do we just put the basics? Or is it where you want to know our story, our concerns? Oh, that's a great question, Tamara. So, Tamara, for anyone that is joining or just wants to try it out, you can try it out for free. When you come in and you fill out your profile, just put basic stuff. You don't have to share anything there. Then I want you to private message me. So you will see an inbox, a message icon. Click that and private message Natasha Harris. Okay. I check my own inbox. I answer your guys' messages. And that's where I want you to tell me your story. I want you to tell me, what you've been through, what you're calling in, what you're struggling with, what you're hoping to get out of being in my program. And then because I have literally thousands of dollars worth of coaching programs in the Feminine Energy Academy for you to try out. And it's hundreds of hours, because we do everything from hormones and weight loss to feminine energy activations to dating and marriage to healing inner child wounds to help you re-regulating around money, all of that. Okay, so I want to know what are you really focused on? Most women that come in, they want it all, right? So they want to lose weight, they want to work on their hormones, and they want to call in their amazing provider energy husband. They want to heal their love blocks, and they want to make more money. So I help you with all of those. Okay, but that was a really, really good question. Okay, let's see. Oh, Tanya says yes, join the FEA. Thanks, Tanya. Appreciate it. Yes, it's totally life changing for the ladies. Okay. Oh, love you tons. Okay, Adrian asked what is needy energy. So I kind of explained that. So I'm not sure if you heard, but needy energy is when you are you need something out externally to make you feel good. So you need external validation. It could be attention, it could be the masculine. You need that to make you feel good, to make you feel happy, to make you feel full, like overflowing full. So, for example, you're in needy energy when you feel lonely, you struggle with loneliness, you struggle with, okay, I just need to go in, you need something external to make you feel good. So it could be, okay, I'll see this sometimes with women where they just got out of a relationship and they're back on the dating apps. I just need to date. You just need that attention from the guys, or on social media. You just need attention from guys. You want the men to be like liking your photos, DMing you. That makes you feel really good about yourself. You want to go on dating apps just to get the attention, stuff like that. That's needy energy. If you're in a relationship, you're dating, and the guy, we talked about this last night, my husband and I were talking about how important it is to be emotionally independent as a woman. Not to say that you're independent, but you're emotionally independent. It's different. And so my husband and I, Coach B, were talking about yesterday how important it is for the woman to have her own time and the man to have his own time. So for some women, that's triggering. So if for example, if my husband is out all day on a Sunday watching football with his brother, and I'm like, babe, go, like go and enjoy we call it his man cave time. Enjoy your man cave time. Okay. But for some women, that's triggering, right? Where it's like, why is he out all day long? Why is he doing that? Now, we have really healthy boundaries in a relationship. I'm not saying to not care. You need to probably just go watch that live stream because it was really good. But I'm not like sitting there thinking like, "Oh, what is he doing? Oh, what is he doing?" I don't need my husband to make me happy. And the irony of this is because I'm like that, because I'm so full, and I was like this when he came into the picture. I love my life so much. He wants to be the source of my happiness. That's how men are. They want to make you happy. They want to give you princess treatment, but they want to do it for the woman that's already happy. They don't want to do it for the woman that's needy and desperate and lonely and triggered if he does anything. That's the difference there. How would you describe a woman that is emotionally independent? Oh, that is such a good question, Purple Pretty. So, what does it mean to be emotionally independent? And this is something I had to learn because I would not say I was emotionally independent until probably the last couple years. Okay. So, what emotionally independent means is that you can emotionally re regulate yourself without external factors. You don't need a man to make you feel good. You don't need food to make you feel good. You don't need a certain amount of money in your bank account for you to feel good. That's one sign. Another sign is you are not reactive. This is a part, ladies, I want you to lean in on this one because this is an area that women really struggle with. And this is something I really struggled with for a long time is not being emotionally reactive. So if you find somebody says something to you the wrong way, it could be a man, it could be a woman. They say something to you a way that just rubs you the wrong way. You're triggered. You're reactive. Another sign you're emotionally reactive versus emotionally independent is if the guy does something, you're sending him long ass text messages. You're sending him voice notes, you're sending him those long messages. That's you. You're not embodying what you're talking about at all. So you just emotionally vomit on people. You're the one yelling. You're yelling at people. You could be yelling at your kids. You could be yelling at men. You're just yelling at people. You have no self control as a woman. That is the biggest turn off, the biggest turn off to the masculine. I see the guys are like, yes, they're agreeing with this. Men don't want to deal with that. People don't want to deal with that. You don't even want to deal with that. You can't even deal with your own emotions, and you want him to deal with your emotions. Not to say that you can't have conversations around things that are emotional, but there's a way to do it. And so, what I teach my girls in my ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy, that's a big thing that we focus on, is not being emotionally reactive. Okay, this is what's going to bring you so much freedom in your life as a woman. I love this about myself now, where and once again, it's not necessarily about men. It could be around business. It could be about your boss. It could be about some financial thing. It could be around taxes. It could be around anything like that. You're just not emotionally reacting. You're moving through your day totally calm, totally unbothered because you've healed your nervous system. That's what it means to be emotionally independent. And it makes you incredibly magnetic to people. It makes you incredibly magnetic to the masculine and to people. I don't know what they're doing out there. It sounds like they're doing construction. Okay. Or it's my kids, one of the two. Okay, let's see here. I didn't realize how reactive I was until I lost my first marriage. And then I was just so reactive to my kids. I was just so reactive to financial situations. I was just so reactive. I just did not know how to handle my emotions as a woman. It is truly one of the greatest skills that you can have as a woman. Also, what happens is for some people, how that manifests is you just completely shut down where you're avoidant because emotions don't feel safe. A lot of entrepreneurs are like this, by the way, where emotions don't feel safe. Once again, I was like this. Emotions do not feel safe. So you avoid. You just avoid dealing with things. You avoid dealing with financial things. Avoid dating. You avoid relationships. You avoid dating seriously for marriage. You just avoid because emotions don't feel safe at a nervous system level. And it's so subconscious. So that's why you got to look at the patterns that you're playing in, and that's what will tell you if that is what you're dealing with. Okay, please touch on why it's so difficult to find a man who's on the same page spiritually. How can we remove that love block? Okay, so this is from Boosted Barbie. She's in the Feminine Energy Academy. So, babe, this is for you. Why is it so hard to why is it so difficult to find a man who's spiritually on the same page as you? Okay, love block because it's where you're spending time. It's where you're spending time, and it's also a reflection of where you're at spiritually. So, I also went through this where I was like, okay, if I am serious, I want to call in a man of God. And it's not necessarily that he goes to church every Sunday. That wasn't so important for me, but he had the same spiritual beliefs as I do. I mean, I'm a Christian, but even more than that, I have a very strong relationship with Jesus. I there's certain revelations that I have, and that's why I'm saying it's not about religion, but there's certain revelations that I have about my identity and just my spiritual beliefs, and I wanted someone like that. So here's the thing though, is I had to check, first of all, I had to check my own I had to check my own relationship with God first. I had to heal my relationship with God first. If I want a man of God, if I want a man that's in the word, that is submitted to God, am I submitted to God? Am I in the word? Am I taking time out of my day to spend time with God? So you got to ask yourself, are you doing that? I decided to be celibate, save myself from marriage. If I'm calling this in, I'm calling him in a man of God, a man that has self-control in that area of his life. I need to have self-control in that area of my life. Whatever it is that you're calling in, you have to embody it first. as a woman. And then there's some practical things like, I mean, you're going to increase your chances of meeting people of your faith if you're going to church, right? Or you're involved in those types of activities. Um, but the biggest thing is what's going on in your energy and where are you at with God. And here's the thing I want you ladies to catch, okay? There's two things. One is that story needs to go. You can't tell yourself that it's hard to find men that have the same spiritual beliefs as you. Because if you're telling yourself that you are, that it's hard to find men that have the same spiritual beliefs as you, like what I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, that's all you're going to see is men that it's hard to find that, right? So you got to tell yourself, you got to program your RAS to see that there's more than enough men that are men of God that have the same spiritual beliefs as you. And there's so many men out there like that, but it's you probably moving in different environments, first of all, and then it's how you're choosing men as well. So for a lot of times women, we tend to gravitate to what's familiar, to old patterns. So this is an invitation for you to start dating and choosing different types of men. Okay? That would be my biggest thing for sure. But that's like a really, really good question. All right. Any other questions that you guys have? This is good. Okay. So once again, also, if you want access to the masterclass I just posted on expanding your money energetics, this is like on here. It's really, really shallow. It's really just about awareness, but I go really, really deep on the nervous system reprogramming and inner healing of blocks and receiving blocks in the Feminine Energy Academy. So if you want access to that, you can have access to that for free today. You can jump in. And then this weekend, my husband, Coach B, is doing a masterclass on words that men love and men hate. So this is going to be so good for our ladies. We're saving this for our Feminine Energy Academy ladies. So if you also want access to that for free, you can jump in right now and you can access that for free. When you're in there, message me, tell me what's going on. We have so much training in there for you. I promise you, it's nothing like you've ever experienced. These ladies are glowing up physically, spiritually, in their nervous system, in their hormones, with their feminine energy, in their dating, in their love life. They're attracting more money. They get to have it all because you get to have it all. You get to have it all, babe. Okay, we just have to expand our capacity to receive that. You can post questions in there. Of course, I will be your coach in there and I can help you with your personal situation. Coach B is also in there, so he can help you with your personal questions around how men think. Okay, anyway, I love you ladies so, so much and have an amazing day.